Today we would have a very important webinar with a very interesting subject about members, which is our essence and soul of this organization. And first, I would like to introduce Susan Jones, actually the first vice president in BPW International. And she is a long-term member. She has been a regional coordinator 2 terms, but besides the international participation, she was very active in Australia and around the world, and always very, very interested in the members, how we can help them, very in touch with all of them. Now, in her role as first vice president, she's in charge of membership and how we can grow this organization. And the most important sometimes is how to maintain our membership. And for this, I can say that she's an expert because her nature as a very kind person, always, as I said, interest in our members. Then Dr. Ann Hilty. First of all, thank you, Anne, again, because without you, this webinar series never happened. Thanks to you that you provide all the IT and your high-level professional way to do the things. Thank you very much. And Hilty is also a long-term member in BPW International, and originally from USA in New York. But then she moved to Jeju. She was the coordinator of the 2014 Congress, the Jeju Congress, a high-level professional psychologist and writer. She has a lot of, I don't know, sorry, Anne, how many books you brought about human behavior and other fields in psychology, and traveled all over the world. Then she moved to Hong Kong. She founded the BPW Hong Kong, which is a very, very successful club with, I think, 80% of young BPWs. I'm proudly belong also to this club. Thanks for the invitation and to accept me to be part of it. And they are very active constantly. And she stayed there until she prepared all this group of young BPW members. And we also have, can you introduce the other speakers, Anne, please? I cannot hear you. You're on mute.
Yes. Sorry. Technology. So we also have Irini Poutakidou, who is in Thessaloniki, Greece, and is the founding president of the club there. We have Dovile Sipeliene. Is that correct, Dovile? Sipeliene, okay, kind of Italian, from Lithuania, and she already had a business women's group that then became a BPW club. She'll tell you about that. We have 2 other speakers. One of them is in the hospital. Larissa cannot join us, and Rozaini I'm looking for at the moment, so she's not yet in the room, and hopefully she'll be able to join us shortly.
So now we will start this webinar. Sorry. Please remember that we are recording the webinar in order that other members that are interested in this subject can receive the information later and to maintain a database and an important archive for our members in our YouTube channel. So, Susan, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Greetings from a very warm evening here in Australia. I'd like to start, first of all, by thanking Anne and Past International Yasmin for inviting me to participate in this session on founding a new BBW club. This first session, I'll be talking about how we grow our international presence, talking specifically about establishing BPW in a new country, the requirements to join, the application and the approval process. I'll be touching too on where we are now with membership, the future of our membership. But first of all, let's remind ourselves that the International Federation of Business and Professional Women, BPW International, was founded by Dr. Lena Madison Phillips in Geneva in 1930. So 2020 will be our 90th anniversary. We're here because of the past growth that we've had over the last 90 years. And my job during my term as membership chair is to continue with that international presence and hopefully to grow the organization. BPW is considered to be one of the most influential international networks for business and professional women in the world. And it's interesting how we will in fact attract those women. So currently we have, our members obviously include entrepreneurs and business owners, executives, young BPW members across all of those 100 countries. And talk a little bit about how we attract those members to join our organization in the first instance. So the slide that I'm showing you now is a visual presence of BPW on the global scale. And if you look down in the bottom right-hand corner, that's me in Australia. And it's about as far away from where you are or as you can get. So it's really wonderful to be able to share this experience with you in this way. So let me just now talk about founding BPW in a new country. How do we get these women in the first place? Well, obviously we've got social media now. We have a huge presence, as you know, on Facebook. Hundreds, in fact, thousands of our members are now members of Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. Word of mouth. We as an executive, including our international president, travel extensively and meet people all over the world. And it's our job to try to get them interested in joining the organization. So the first thing we have to do, obviously, for me, it's very much about establishing their motivation for joining BPW. We need to know that they want to join us for the right reasons, that they're looking to advocate for change in their country, that they have studied the websites, spoken to members of our executive. And so the first thing I do is I write to them outlining a little bit about the organization, our background with the UN, and explaining to them that they would need to gather together a group of like-minded, motivated women. So they need, first of all, to gather a minimum of 20 members to the group. Those members should be motivated and subscribe to the aims of BPW International, which of course they'll find on the website. We need to confirm that there will be an annual fee and that the club name should be named after the location for the town. E.g., if they were in Canada, it could be BPW Vancouver. What I want to stress at this stage is that we're talking initially now about creating a club in a new country where there's obviously no federation and no previous BPW membership there. And I'll come back to that a little bit further through this process. So one of the things that we discuss, of course, is the benefits of joining BPW. The fact that we're an international organization. Some of the studies that we've done in the past show us that the majority of our members join because it is an international organization. The fact that we have consultative status with the UN, of course, access to our international conferences and forums all over the world. I always stress that it's one of the largest international women's organizations for both business and the professions. Our longevity and partnerships that we have with UN agencies, etc. And the fact that we can network with like-minded women. So the application process, when the applicant is ready and gathered together a group of women who are dynamic and working towards the aims of the organization, then we send them the forms, but it isn't until we're sure that they have, they're well aware what's required of them as an organization, and also we need to ensure that they have a group of very motivated women. So they receive from us a questionnaire, an application form, a copy of a model constitution, a form. We need them to list the 20 members with email addresses, phone numbers, and whether they're in the profession or business. And we talk about the guidelines for establishing an affiliate club with those particular application forms. They need to complete a list of interim executive, their interim executive as well. So what's the final process? Once they've sent us the application forms, believe you me, this is not an easy process. Often those application forms go back and forth, as Penella will attest to. It's not always a straightforward process, but the final approval of the documents will be by the international president and the executive secretary. That's after both myself and regional coordinators may have been involved in assisting them with completing these forms. So then the executive secretary asks for us to vote by ballot for the acceptance of this new BPW affiliate club. The finance director raises an invoice for fees, and once the club is financial, the executive board, member services and presidents are all notified so they can write and congratulate the new club. The club is then officially welcomed by BPW and presented with membership certificate, a welcome letter, and links to BPW governance documents, our constitution and procedure manual. Obviously, this is a very important aspect of them joining BPW. And we also attach the new affiliate guide. Now, this affiliate guide was created to help new clubs, but also to assist existing clubs. I just want to go through what's in that affiliate guide with you. So the affiliate guide is something that has come with this new executive. It's translated into French, Italian, and Spanish. It lists the benefits of membership, the International Executive Board, all the timelines associated with BPW, when the annual report is due, BPW, the candle lighting ceremony, all of those timelines are in there. Details about the candle lighting ceremony, the BPW Collect. We have all of the international presidents from the last 90 years and the themes of those past congresses. There are listed in the affiliate guide that are partners and partnerships that we have, something about the branding and logos. All of our UN representatives in New York, Geneva, and Vienna are in the affiliate guide, and our UN agencies with BPW representatives. So it's quite a comprehensive affiliate guide. It's a work in progress. There are things that need to be added to it, but it is available online, and it is something that I always send with the new clubs confirmation of membership. So what we try to do is also to encourage new affiliates to promote BPW at every opportunity, and it's quite often difficult for them to articulate very quickly what BPW is all about. So having this 2-minute a brief on what BPW does is very useful for them in those early stages. In fact, it's useful for all of us, I think, and I always find it very, very easy for me to be able to tell people what BPW is all about if I memorize this particular this particular phrase here. So where are we now? What has happened in the last couple of years since I was elected in October 2017 in Cairo? So this is a snapshot of the membership growth in BPW over the last 12 years. Obviously very pleasing for me to see the growth is now at this tail end of that 12 years. I'm very happy to talk to you about how that's progressed, and the next few slides will probably help you have some idea of where that growth has come from. So in the last 2 years, BPW has been launched in 14 new countries. Anguilla, this is in North America and the Caribbean. Armenia, of course, Penella is there. Europe is growing under her leadership, which is wonderful. Congo, Djibouti, Georgia, Ghana, Libya, Lithuania, South Sudan. South Sudan folded early in the year, and it's now been resurrected. There are applications that I've received for two new affiliates there, and a third on the way. So that's pleasing to see that South Sudan has been resurrected. We've got Tanzania and Zambia. So just let me explain that these are new clubs in new countries. So we only have one club at the moment in each one of these to start it off, but I'll come through now and explain to you how we've gained additional clubs since these new countries have been formed. So just to remind you that to establish a federation where a BPW is named after a country, we have to have at least 100 members and 3 or more active and viable affiliate clubs. So I will explain to you now what's happening. I'm delighted to say that we have one new federation in this triennium, BPW Lebanon. In the last triennium, they formed 3 new clubs. And at the beginning of this triennium, they applied to become a federation and they were granted that. So it's always a delight for us to have a brand new federation. So there you can see the information about BPW Lebanon. So I now want to just go through with you about the new affiliate clubs. These clubs are already established in a country, but they don't yet have enough clubs or members to form a country federation. So Burkina Faso, we have 4 new clubs added to the one that was approved during the last triennium. And so we will be expecting to have a federation formed at some stage before August with Burkina Faso. They have already expressed an interest in forming a federation. India, we have new clubs in Mumbai and Kolkata. In Kenya, another club, and in South Africa too. In Malaysia, we have 4 new clubs added to Kuala Lumpur, and they have already expressed an interest in forming a federation, which I'm delighted for, because I was there with President Yasmin when they formed BPW KL, and it's a delight to see how fast they've grown. The Philippines, we have 2 more clubs. That makes 4. So the Philippines again have expressed an interest in forming a federation. And the United Arab Emirates, you can see there that they have 3 new clubs added to Dubai. So what's an absolute delight for me as membership chair is to see that we possibly will have 4 new federations coming into the Congress in Egypt, in Orlando. That is probably the most federations that will have been formed during one triennium period, but we are yet to get that confirmed, of course. So no federations, these are just individual clubs, but you can see how many new members we have formed with these new clubs. So you can start to get a picture of why why the membership has increased so extensively over the last couple of years. So what about future membership? What's happening there? What inquiries have we had? What's likely to happen in the next triennium, or even toward the end of this one? So we have expressions of interest already in forming a new club in 14 additional new countries. These clubs have either applied and sent in forms, or they are only the early stages where they have expressed interest. But these are the countries that we have at the moment. That we have Croatia, Fiji, Gambia, Guatemala, Guinea, Honduras, Kyrgyzstan, Malawi, Maldives, Mauritius, Palestine, Portugal, Slovenia, and Syria. So you can see that they are from all over the 5 regions, and they're without any doubt in my mind, they will be forming clubs. Many of these will be forming clubs before August, when we have our Congress. So one of the things that was very important for me in forming these new clubs in such a short time is that in the past we have had situations where clubs have formed and closed very quickly thereafter. And it's very important for me to look at the sustainability of BPW, and I always refer to it as the SDG number 18, and that is the sustainability of our organization. So the idea was to establish, to use established federations to mentor and twin with these new affiliates. The first thing that I had to do, of course, was to obtain the support of both the mentoring and twinning chairs, and I'm delighted to say that they're very keen to pursue this concept. We've developed a program with advocacy training, sharing projects, regular online meetings. The idea of travel between affiliates is always an attraction. Business opportunities, the trade between the businesswomen in these 2 clubs, and of course the opportunity to meet up in global conferences, and in some instances to learn the language from each other, so that I think I think Montreal and Portugal are a good example of that, where they have twinned and are learning each other's language. So what I've tried to do is give you a snapshot of how we found a BPW club in a new country, how we progress through from having 1 club to 2, 3, 4 clubs, and eventually forming a federation, and how we are trying very hard during this triennium to grow a BPW. And I think you can see that that's happening. I'm hoping that the figures will be much stronger by the time we go to the Congress in Orlando. But in the meantime, I just wanted to thank you again for your attention. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Susan. And that was a very comprehensive presentation. Wonderful. And I'd also like to welcome now our 4th speaker for today, who is Rozaini Nawawi from Malaysia, one of those clubs you were just mentioning, and she'll talk about that in a bit. She's also, as we all are, the founding president. So I'd like to ask each of our 4 speakers, including myself last, to spend about 5 minutes talking about some of the particulars or some of the pros and cons of founding your own club. And Irini, can we start with you?
Sure. Hi, all. Susan, thank you very much for a very interesting presentation, and Anne for setting up this Skype call, and of course Yasmin for all her experience and inputs. I'm Irini Poutakidou. I'm based in Thessaloniki in Greece. I'm the founding president of BPW Thessaloniki. All started in 2017, let's say, when I came across BPW over my business trips in sub-Saharan Africa, and I saw extraordinary women doing extraordinary things, and I was very impressed. Coming back, I Googled and I realized that we have a BBW club in Greece, based in Athens, since many, many years ago, that frankly speaking, I was not aware of. So I contacted the sisters in Athens, and frankly speaking, they supported me a lot in setting up our own club here in the north of Greece. Frankly speaking, over my presidency, who just finished a while ago, I tried to join all international events and understand the big scale of BBW International. I invested in attending the international congresses, the regional congresses, also the Leader Summit in New York. And from my personal experience, I gained so much from this organization that I could never imagine. First of all, meeting like-minded people. Secondly, learning a lot of things about sectors and topics that my everyday life and business life has nothing to do with. So I'm very happy that I came across and I invested a lot of personal resources in becoming a member of this international team of women, let's say team. Coming back to the logistics of setting up and running a club, I would like to tell you that based in Europe and, being in a position of running a non-profit scheme according to the Greek and the European law, I faced quite a lot of, not problems, but obstacles regarding the operations, regarding the communication with public authorities, tax authorities, social security services, banking system, and so on, that I really needed support because I didn't have the time to run everything by myself. So this was one part, but most probably because we're based in Greece, and during my presidency, Greece faced a lot of political, financial, and so on problems, that every initiative had to be triple checked by different authorities. So in a way, maybe I was not very lucky as far as the period is concerned. The second challenge I faced is that initially we teamed up 20 friends and like-minded women, very busy and very, occupied with very tight and heavy business schedules, trips and programs, that it was quite tough to communicate, get together frequently and arrange activities that could fit everybody's interests. 2 years ago, we managed to make a very big twinning procedure with Cyprus, and we were very lucky because members from all clubs in Cyprus visited in Thessaloniki and developed very good relations, business relations, friendship, and so on, which was a very big gain for all of us. But still, it's not something that an individual can run by herself. It has to be a teamwork. Once you decide to establish a club and you hope for its sustainability, you have to be very clear from the beginning what is in front of you and in front of the club members, so that they can engage, commit themselves that they will decide and stand for their decisions in the long run, and turn out the club to be something very interesting and successful, for the benefit of their own, for the benefit of the town, and the benefit of BBW International. But I would strongly recommend women from all over who have the time and the resources, personal resources, time, funds, whatever, and they're interested in getting involved in this international scheme, to just do it, just to do it. It's an amazing opportunity, amazing. Lots of experiences and lots of different ideas and lots of images. And I would strongly recommend it. I'm very lucky that I finished in good health my training. We had elections some weeks ago, and now we are in the process of passing all the official paperwork to our new president, Talia Valkouma. And I really hope that she will carry on and invest and make us well known all over, even in these new clubs that Susan just mentioned. And I'm very, very happy to have met you all.
Thank you, Irini.
What I really wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Irini. And it just occurred to me only now that we have 2 speakers from Europe and 2 from Asia. So let's keep within the continent for the moment. Dovile, I'll ask you to speak to us next, if you will, and then Rozaini after her.
Well, hello. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Dovile Sipeliene, and I'm a president of BPW Panelists in Lithuania. And my story, my experience is a little bit different because I didn't have to gather the women from the beginning. My mother and I were in business for many years, and I don't know, about 10 years ago, we saw the need for women to get together and to we saw the benefit of it, that together we're stronger, our voices are better heard, and women do have that need to get together and share experience. So we had the local club, and then with some time we found out there was a club in Lithuania, so we joined the national network. And only last year, we became aware of the international organization BPW, and all our women were very excited to join it. So the enthusiasm was absolutely there in the beginning, but once it comes to the actual paperwork and all the process of establishing a club, in my opinion, this is the easiest part. This is peanuts in comparison with the actual work you have to do to keep the women together, because they will dedicate their time with pleasure to attend the events you organize, but they will not be so enthusiastic to dedicate their time in arranging and organizing things. And several times during this year, I got to the point where I was almost ready to quit. I thought, what am I doing this for? Am I the only one who needs this club? And I thought, am I doing this for my own ego, for the title of being president? And actually meeting women from other clubs, in particular from Germany, from Iceland, from Estonia, when traveling and attending big events, and meeting those women who are members for 20 and 30 years, and seeing the light in their eyes always gave me such wings and such strength to continue, that I knew I will be, in a sense, rewarded for the efforts, that women will learn to understand what a power we are together. And so my advice to someone starting a new club would be, make sure you have someone to help you. Although you have to understand that it's going to be your own responsibility, and very often you'll have to do everything on your own. But now, after 1 year, I start to see that the women's approach towards this club is starting to shift from what's in there for me to what can I do, how can I contribute. But it took quite a while. And so I advise again that patience has to be your best friend. And you're very fortunate if you have a group of committed members who want to start. Sharing the responsibilities is the greatest thing. But I know that behind every great project, there's always one person in charge. And if you're ready to take that commitment, at the end, it will definitely be rewarding. And I totally agree with my colleague that it's an amazing experience. And even if you don't get to do so much, to accomplish so much in this one first year, there's this great benefit of meeting women like you who are so motivated and so inspiring. And I'm very excited, and I feel honored to be a member of this organization. And I'm very, very motivating to everyone else to join in. Thank you.
Thank you, Dovile. That was inspiring in and of itself. Rozaini, you fairly recently have started your club, and I met you before your club began when I came to Malaysia for another club's opening. So I'd ask you to share with us next. You are muted. I'm going to unmute you. Oh, no, you're unmuted now. Okay. So if you would share with us now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rozaini Nawawi. I'm a negotiator with a property agency in my country. And now I was selected to be president of PPW Putrajaya, Malaysia. We are the newest club in Malaysia. Okay, thank you to the organizer for inviting me to be a panelist today. I would like to share how I developed my club in Putrajaya. There is difficulties and challenges to form up a new club because PPW is very new in Malaysia. When I just started, there is not much information about PPW. But I have to Google PPW International, and I try to understand about this organization. And I love to join, and I love to bring all my members to join the PPW. When I have, and I also attend a few conferences, and I have learned many things during the conference. That was in New York, in Bangkok. So I feel I'm very happy. Yeah. Okay. Besides that, I engage also with some of the BPW president from other countries because I want to know more information. I connected with them through social media. So I have a few presidents that I've really changed some ideas with them, how to develop to make our BPW club growing. Okay, I visited also a few countries and learned what are their activities that their country done for their countries so far, so that I can learn something from that country. How I started first to develop my club, I called my nearest friends to go to come for gathering, and also we having a very good soft launching together. Yeah, and then from that event, I highlighted to them about BPW and straight away open registration for them who interested to join our club. They are all entrepreneurs and professionals. First registration, I managed to get about 30 members. 30 members, and now for year 2020, we have more new members to be registered. Now I feel a bit easy to find out new members because they have known about BPW Putrajaya, because we have many activities that throughout the years of 2019, activities that we done for the 1 year calendar for 2019, I have selected a few portfolio leaders every month with different activities, such as they are doing ethics and protocol, CSR, fashion show, tailoring, digital marketing training, celebration, seminars, leadership symposium. And I would like to thank to the president of BPW Nepal, Madam Ambika, and young BPW representative, Ms. Nelima, and all the members of BPW Nepal for their warm welcome and kind hospitality during my visit to Nepal, to Kathmandu. Yeah, they're taking me all around to show me what are their activities, and I'm very happy so that when I go back to my country, I try to deliver the same thing as what they have done in Nepal. It's a very good, organization, and also I share everything when I go back to my country. Okay, and not to forget, I would like to thank also our Asian Pacific, Asia Pacific Regional Coordinator, Dr. Narudi, ASEAN Sub-Regional Coordinator, Ms. Toiting, and all the past president and president BPW of Thailand. I was in Bangkok and was very happy because I know many things also from Bangkok. They are teaching me, okay? They are sharing with me so that when I go back to my country, I also deliver to all my members again. And besides that, I'm very happy that I was invited to join the conference in New York last March. Okay, I intend to go again, to New York and also to Florida. Okay, and besides that also, I have attended a few conferences under United Nations. Okay, this is my advice to all the BPW members from other countries, all the countries, to take this opportunity to attend all the BPW conference and also United Nations conference as well. It's a very good sharing. Now I know many things after I joined all these conference. Last, I would like to say thank you to all my committee and BPW members of Putrajaya for their supportive to make our activities 2019 very successful. And I would like to thank also to our President BPW International, Dr. Amani Aspor, board members of International, all BPW sisters from all countries, and hope that we will meet again in our next conference 2020. We meet, we learn, and we grow together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rozaini. So now lastly me, another non-Asian face, but Asian club, and that's Hong Kong. And each of you has a somewhat unique situation with your club, and we do too in Hong Kong because we are the second club after the first club of many years had to close its doors. So this is a unique situation. So the first club was from 1979 to 2013. I was not in Hong Kong at that time, but toward the end of that, I was in Korea, as Yasmin mentioned, and I knew the president of Hong Kong. And at the end, they finally closed because they had fewer than 20 members and no one was attending or involved in the activities anymore. But in the 1990s, so about 15 years to 20 years before they closed, about half of their time in, they actually had more than 300 members in that club. So from 1990s to 2013, it went from about 300 to fewer than 20. So when I was returning to Hong Kong for the second time to live, and I said, I'll gather some new people and start a new club, we met with 4 remaining members of that first club, including the last president. And the last president was not from Hong Kong and soon leaving. They had already closed the club 2 years before. And the other 3 were very old and they were very happy to give us their advice, but they were not interested in joining a new effort because they had been founding members. They had been in the club for 34 years and they were just, at that point, they were done. But they met with us and gave us their best advice. And one of the things they said that I hear in clubs all over the world was they aged out. They didn't keep adding younger members. They didn't emphasize young membership. And the club just got older and older. And by the end, also very few members. So that's one of the things that we set out to emphasize from the start. So the unique thing was Hong Kong knew about BPW because the previous club had been there for 34 years and Hong Kong is not that big of a place. So they had engaged with the government and other things and they were known. And then when we came, we started a baby club, a new club in 2015, but we had the reputation of the previous club that we were coming in on. So we had a chance for a fresh start at the same time and to do things differently, but at the same time to honor and appreciate and benefit from the reputation of the first club. So that was a bit of a unique situation. So one of the things we emphasized, Yasmin mentioned this, was youth leadership. I'm not young. I was the first president. I had the connections to BPW worldwide and the ability to lead a team. But more than half of my team of 9 members in the executive were under the age of 35. And we made this 50-50 premise from the start for our own sustainability and also to have the latest, newest, freshest ideas that we could. So we wanted 50% or more of the executive to be under 35. It also depends on who are the candidates, but we emphasized that. Our committees and task forces, we wanted to have half of them led by young BPW if possible. And we generally emphasized the membership to be at least 50% under the age of 35. We chartered with 48 members, so we had a really strong start. And 2, or maybe actually 3 of those had been previous members of the previous club. They had joined it very near the end. It was dying at that point, and they were very happy to join a new club. But all the rest were new. The second year, we shot up to 70-some members. I don't remember exactly, 73, let's say. So that was very good growth. Not all renewed from the first year, but we had started sort of late in the year, so almost all of those renewed, and some others. But by the third year, we were down to 30-something, and we had to really evaluate that. And I've often talked to other presidents, too, who say the first year, the momentum will carry itself. By the second year, people start thinking, maybe this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe I don't get enough to build my own network or my own profession from this or other reasons, and they don't all stay. So that's a very typical pattern in organizations generally, to go up at first and have a slump and then to recalibrate after that. At the moment, Hong Kong Club is, I think, 48 members. It's near 50 members again, so it's quite strong now. Second president was 30 when she became president, 32 when she finished a few months ago. The current president, who just took over at the end of or middle of November, is 28 years old and very dynamic and incredibly professional. Both of them have had leadership experience previously. So we don't want to just put in somebody based on age. They have to have something worth voting for them to become president. But they had led other organizations before. So we're very comfortable with that. Another thing that we really emphasized from the start, and some of you have mentioned, is reaching out beyond our own borders. So all of our activities, of course, the emphasis, the advocacy, all of that is in Hong Kong. But mostly I've been attending a lot of other meetings, even until now. And just last week in Tokyo for a sub-regional conference, we suddenly had several more of our members, including the new and the immediate past president, attending that, and 3 other officers. So now Hong Kong is branching out generally into these other activities. And our president will be at the Leaders Summit in March and also part of the CSW process with the UN. So I'm very happy that they're going beyond the borders now too. But we did twin with a number of clubs around the world in our first 2 years. And now we're twinned with several clubs within Asia Pacific region. And so the twinning has usually been about exchanging best practices. And a couple of you also said you learn a lot from other club presidents. Rozaini, you were just saying that. So I think twinning can often be about each club learning from the other. And even if your club is new, that doesn't mean you don't have something to give them in return. You may give them fresh new ideas if they're in a more well-established, more long-established club. So we use our twinnings especially for this kind of strategy. And I always emphasize strategic twinning. We need to have a very specific purpose that benefits both clubs. And we can certainly, from the beginning, learn from each other. At this point, I'm not in Hong Kong very much. What we've done is to put past presidents, including me and now one more, into an advisory council. So we're helping to advise the current president and support her along with her full executive. And a lot of what I'm doing is continuing to, because my work takes me around the world, to meet with clubs. In fact, 1 hour after this meeting, I'm meeting with a club here in Italy, and I've met with several more in the last month. And to learn from them face-to-face what they're doing and tell them about Hong Kong, and then take that information back to the Hong Kong Club. And just yesterday, I was in a meeting online with our current president to answer some of her questions, but also hear from her about the event she just attended in Tokyo. So even though I'm not physically there in today's world, that hardly matters. I am still very actively involved with them and also supporting them. So I also would end with this, and that is to encourage the use of digital strategy and digital technology as much as possible. So have your meetings face-to-face, but also have online meetings, because that's going to be more convenient for some of the members. And reach out to other clubs in other parts of the world and make an online meeting with them. Why not? You can have members in two places if you coordinate the time zones and you speak the same language, and you can have a joint meeting with them. So these are some creative uses of digital strategies that we can include. And finally, I said that was the last point, but finally, a couple of you have also mentioned that slump. And I too, in Hong Kong, the first year was very dynamic. And by the second year, I had moments of thinking, am I the only one who is carrying this whole thing? Dovile, you said that. Irini didn't say that, but I know we've had conversations and she's felt that as well. Rozaini, you might be too new as a president to have hit that wall yet, but by the second year, even if you have a great team, it can feel like you're the one making the most effort and not everyone is attending meetings and so on. So it can slump very commonly, typically in the second year, I think. And then fortitude comes in. You have to keep pushing through and also, of course, try to encourage your board and your members as much as possible and get through that, because by the third year, that usually evens out. So even if you only have a 2-year term, the second year might be more difficult, but know that that's typical in a new club or a new organization for that matter. The first year, everybody's carried by the high of something new. The second year is when it really becomes work. And not everybody can or wants to put in the effort. By the third year, you've established something. And so I think by the third year, it will begin to carry itself a bit more again because it's much more firmly established by then. But getting through the second year or parts of the second year sometimes is just effort. So that's when reaching out to other clubs, going to international events and so on can help you get through that period. And certainly to try to engage your own members as best as possible. And that's all I have to say. So we are actually at the end of our time. We can take a couple minutes more if we have any final comments from anyone else who hasn't yet had a chance to speak today.
And
Jasmine?
I would like to share my screen, but I don't have this option.
Oh, you should. You should have the share button, the green share button at the bottom of your screen.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can read it.
We have some sound reverb because you're logged in on 2 different devices, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's okay now?
Good.
So can you read what it was Lena said on her first inaugural speech in Geneva in 1930? So as you can see is what many of you mentioned and about some of the members just ask what do I get out of it? And this is something that very often we listen from the members, and we have to share with them and our faith, vision, and courage. And then, as Lena said, accomplishments must come. I think that it is very important, the selection of our members. When you start a club, you have to have a very clear idea what you want according the vision and the mission of and objectives of BPW International. Which kind of women would like to join BPW. But if we only show to them the fancy things about um, um, social events and that they will gain business or gain something, instead of say to them what is our mission, ambition, and how they can support others with their knowledge, and how in the same way they can grow up, then I think that will be very clear for them if they want to join or not. It is very discouraged. I mentioned sometimes to many of you that we listen that why we have to pay 22 euros. And I said, what? What are you talking about per year? Sometimes when I present BPW and they ask me how much is the cost to be a BPW member, I feel ashamed to say 22 euros, because then they think that we are a very cheap organization. But in another hand, we listen from our members, this complaint is that as we are not really engaged of the importance of this international organization, and they think that have no value and that we can run without any kind of support, same in the local level, same in the national level. So if you have this kind of members, really, I always say, sorry to say, but they are not a business or they are not a professional women at all. Usually we spend these amounts in a dinner, you know. And so the benefits to belong to a BPW International are, I have to say, are more inside each one. It's not a finances gain. It's I'm doing something in this world. I several times when I went to bed, I said, well, I'm doing something for the rest of the women and childs and the entire humanity by doing this, because it's a repercussion. Maybe I am only one person, but this is united with all of you means a lot for the world. So really we need to be more engaged and thinking about in the selection of the members. And it's okay, they can join, and they don't like, that's okay. Thank you very much. Next. But please don't be discouraged. At the end, the good ones will stay working with you and sharing your same vision about what is BPW International. I would like to invite you to buy the Lena Madison Phillips book. It's thanks to Anne. When I've been president, I knew that it will be impossible to print again the book. So I asked her how we can do it, and she contacted the editor, and he agreed to putting on ebook. So now we have this great tool in ebook for $9.99, $9.99. So it's less than $10. So you can Google the book. The name is A Measure Philip, and is the autobiography of Lena Madison Phillips. And it's a great tool because it's amazing the same problems that they went through since 1919, when this organization started in United States, are the same that we are talking about it. And stay in BPW, and we are very proud of all of you. And I know that it's not easy, but you are fighters. Irina, you did a great job. And I know that Dr. Rozaini and Dovile, is your name, are doing great. Thank you very much. Thank you. You are part now of the history of this great organization, and we need you to stay with us. Thank you very much.
Okay, time to wrap things up. We're a few
If
minutes
there
past
is
the hour.
any, you are on mute, Anne. You are
No,
on
I'm
mute.
not. I'm not on mute.
Hello?
I am not on
I
mute.
cannot hear you.
No.
Oh,
Okay, everyone else can hear me?
sorry.
Okay. So I don't know, Yasmin, but they can hear me.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to wrap it up now. I have another BPW event to get to with Battipaglia here in southern Italy. I'll say hello to them, Pinella, for you. And I want to thank, first of all, Susan for a wonderful presentation tonight and a great job since she took over the position of first vice president and membership. And I want to thank each of our speakers tonight for all your efforts, as well as for joining us tonight, this morning, wherever you happen to be joining this event
Early
today.
morning.